Yes, welcome back to Now No Opportunity Wasted. I'm your host, Angelica Ross, and Pride. I know y'all think it's the end of Pride and the end of Pride Month, but here at Now, we are just getting started. Make sure I don't got no lipstick on my teeth. Um, we are going to also make sure I drag my video. Let's see, where's my video? Where is my video cam? Where's my camera? Where's my camera? Girl, which one of these is my camera? Second, one of these is my camera. Okay. So one of these is my camera. It's this one right here. Okay. So I'm going to just move that angle over just a little bit so we can get a little bit more of the flag in there. Get me right and centered so we can celebrate right. I am going to let you guys in on Instagram as well. But I'm not going to be paying attention much to the Instagram feed because it's too difficult to pay attention to too many things at once. Welcome back to Now. I am opening, let's see, open recent. Let's say open. Let's just say open. There we go, Lena Bradford. Okay, here we go. All right. And also, I think I'm going to move give me 2 seconds. I do not have a production assistant with me today, so your girl is flying solo and doing all the things solo. I wish I had Daniela Carter with me here today. Daniela is an excellent producer, and she helped me produce all 9 episodes of this Pride series, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome back to No Opportunity Wasted. I am your host, Angelica Ross, and tonight we are closing out Pride Month not with a goodbye, but with a declaration. Pride never ends, honey. And while I was in New York City, I had the immense joy of producing a special 9-episode series with my sister and producer, Daniela Carter. And I make sure everybody, you can hear me, right? I mean, I'm just going on and making sure, say, I cannot read this far. Say hello to Brazil, please. Hello, Brazil. You all can hear me. I hope that you can hear me. I need to open up the YouTube chat. Now, I'm streaming a little bit differently. I had this whole setup set up where I would be able to bring on guests and do this whole thing, but the camera thing started glitching at the last minute when I was like about to go live. The like website was glitching. So I said, okay, we are not going to be doing that. So, I am streaming directly from StreamYards, and we are going to just do it this way. And and I want to make sure also that I record. Let me hit record now. Start recording. Thank you very much. That means once I record, I can automatically get this into podcasts. So I'm trying to create a pipeline from doing my live stream into podcasts. All right, we're already a few minutes behind, so I'm about to start this again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Now No Opportunity Wasted. I'm your host, Angelica Ross, and tonight we are closing out Pride Month, but not with a goodbye, but with a declaration. Pride never ends, okay? While I was in New York City, I had the immense joy of producing a special 9-episode series with my sister and producer, Daniela Carter. We were spotlighting LGBTQ plus voices. And starting tonight, we're making Pride a weekly practice. Celebrating our community every week. We're live. You hear me? And as always, I want to ground us in a Buddhist word. Actually, 2 Buddhist words. First, from Nichiren Daishonen's The Essentials for Attaining Buddhahood. And he says, quote, Because I have expounded this teaching, I have been exiled and almost killed. As the saying goes, good advice grates on the ear, but I am still not discouraged, end quote. And also from Buddhism Day by Day for June 30th, it says, quote, in one of his writings, when renowned microbiologist Rene Dubois states, history teaches the man without effort is sure to deteriorate. Man cannot progress without effort, and man cannot be happy without effort. This is indisputable. You may be experiencing various hardships right now, but because you continue to make efforts in the midst of those challenges, no matter how painful they are, you will definitely become happy. Effort and happiness are indivisible. Now, those words ring especially true today as we reflect on the state of our world, one where truth, compassion, and courage are often punished, while ignorance and violence are left unchecked. Yeah. All right, before we get into my amazing interview with the fabulous, the iconic Lena Bradford, before we get to that, I want to acknowledge a few headline stories that demand our attention. And I wish I could see your comments right now because I really want to see your comments on all these. First of all, there was a tragedy at the historic Stonewall Inn just hours after the NYC Pride March. 2 teenage girls were shot just steps away from the birthplace of our movement. One of them is still in critical condition. Now, this should have been a night of celebration, not of survival. Police and authorities say that they still don't have a motive or a suspect. Next, Trump and TikTok. President Trump claims that he's found buyers for TikTok's U.S. operations, setting a new September deadline. Because, it was about 2 or 3 other deadlines since January. He go back and forth, wish-washy, don't know what he's doing. But what is at stake here is more than an app. It's surveillance, censorship, and who controls the narrative in our digital age. But the story I cannot let go of, and I fear that this country wants us to forget, is the Minnesota lawmakers who were shot. I mean, it was like a blip on the radar. Our country is plummeting into chaos fast. A 2-day manhunt ended in the arrest of Vance Bolter, a white man now charged with murdering Minnesota House Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and her husband and shooting State Senator John Hoffman and his wife 17 times. 17 times. Folks want to talk about all of this stuff, but there is actual real crimes happening. And no one is taking responsibility. We barely hear about it on the news. So let me say that again. A white man targeted elected officials and their spouses and shot them in their homes. And yet, where is the national media outrage? Where's the outrage? Where are the terrorist headlines? Instead, we live in a country where protesters, immigrants, and trans people and black communities are constantly painted as the threat, while the real danger continues to grow from within. Domestically grown, white national extremists. This is what we have been warning about. The same communities that get blamed, brutalized, and over-policed are not the ones shooting up churches and synagogues, schools, or state houses. We got to stop pretending like these are isolated incidents. These are symptoms of a sickness, one that this country refuses to name. And if we don't start calling it what it is, domestic terrorism fueled by white supremacy, then we are complicit in letting it spread. So let me be clear. The most dangerous people in America are not the queer folks at Stonewall, not the TikTok creators, and certainly not trans youth in schools. It's them people stockpiling weapons, radicalizing in basements, and hiding in plain sight. We can't keep saying never again if we're unwilling to face the truth. Oh, so do we mean never again? Okay, then. So tonight, as we launch this next chapter of Pride Conversations, we do so knowing that visibility is not enough. We need accountability, we need truth, and we need voices of light who remind us of what's worth fighting for. One of those voices, and tonight's guest, is DJ, activist, and icon, Lena Bradford. Lena Bradford is a living legend in the world of music, fashion, and LGBTQ plus activism. She's known around the globe as DJ Lena, but she's so much more than the master of decks. Born and raised in Manhattan, just steps from Carnegie Hall, Lena Bradford was surrounded by creativity and expression from an early age. Her grandmother was an opera singer, and by 11, Lena was classically trained in ballet, jazz, and tap. That early artistry laid the foundation for a lifetime of dazzling performance and unapologetic self-expression. In the vibrant, gritty nightlife of the 1990s New York City, she became known as Girlina, part of the revolutionary club kid scene. Her look, her moves, her presence turned heads and broke barriers. But it wasn't long before she stepped into the DJ booth, turning tables and changing the game. DJing since 1997, she quickly earned respect in a male-dominated space. Mentored by greats like Frankie Knuckles and Larry Levan, she built a global fan base with her joyful sets, spinning everything from disco to house. For 10 iconic summers, she lit up the Fire Island with her legendary parties, Lena's Lounge, Torlina, cementing her status as nightlife royalty. But Lena's not just about the party. She's a spiritually grounded and deeply generous soul. She's the host of her own dazzling interview series, In the Dollhouse with Lena, where she, with her warmth, and she just brings out this side of her guests. And off stage, she's a fierce advocate and a global ambassador for Heatrick Martin Institute, a board member of GMHC, and a tireless voice for trans rights, queer youth, and people living with HIV. She's been honored with awards from the Glammys to the White House, appeared in documentaries like Wigstock and Lenish, and continues to inspire across generations with her message of love, light, and being your whole damn self. Please welcome to now the good Judy, Miss DJ Lena. Wait a minute. Please welcome to now Miss Dina. Please welcome to now Miss Lena Bradford.
Oh, well, welcome to now Lena Bradford.
What?
Oh my goodness. First of all, I came into New York to do Tribeca, and my girl Daniela got on producer, pulled all the girls together, kind of last minute produced this whole series on Pride.
Yeah.
So I know this was sometimes, we do things last minute, and you just said yes.
Of course, because this is what was supposed to happen.
Yes, this was what's supposed to happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With this being now, no opportunity wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And now hearing that during Pride Month, you have the opportunity to represent New York as the Grand Marshal. What does this opportunity mean to you? And tell me just your idea of what it means to not waste this opportunity as you show up.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, sister.
Yes,
it's always so delicious to see you. And you look disgusting.
Oh my goodness, girl, they had a stylist and everything, baby. Yes,
they
thank
brought
you to the
together,
stylist.
girl.
Yes.
Growing up in Manhattan, I knew that was a big honor. I didn't know how they got the honor, but I knew it was a big honor. And just throughout the years from, back in the day till now, seeing the people who were representing for, being Grand Marshal, it's something other special.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
it
yes.
really is, because then you start to really look at that person and the way that they've been traveling and their whole vibration through life. And you're like, ah, that's why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes other people look at the Pride Parade a little bit differently, because we do have a Grand Marshal. We are the architect of why other people have prides all over this country and all over this world.
Wow, tell it.
You
You're
know?
right. New York.
So New York,
Yes.
honey, you know, it's where the get down starts, you
You know
know?
what though? Also, when I think of New York, I think of Lena Bradford.
Yeah.
Like you have been a part of the scene
Yeah.
for a long time. Can you talk to me just about your perspective DJing in some of the most lit
Yeah.
celebrations in
From
this
then till now.
from then
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
now? Like, tell me about that experience for you.
I love getting a perspective of people from outside the city. So you just saying that and like leading up to this is exactly why I think that people gravitate toward New York, and why some of the people that being born and raised in Manhattanite, revere our implants and our implants,
Yeah.
our implants as New Yorkers, because of the perspective that they bring from different cities and different countries. I love that. And they bring things that we sometimes overlook being a New Yorker,
Absolutely,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So for me, growing up in Manhattan and, you know, coming up from, you know, the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, sometimes I feel like I'm a pod person looking outside like, wait, what happened? But then there's other times I'm just like, this is why this is my city
Yeah.
and why it's so special, because there's beautiful hiccups and moments. It's a different kind of New York, I won't front, because, you know, these devices, people have become a little more introverted, where, you know,
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
very much out there and I love to talk to people.
I love that about you.
Thank you,
Yes.
sister. And so I have to remind people, not without saying it, but just with my actions, that look, talk to somebody in their face. You can meet your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and also learn things by just speaking to somebody. That's what's so wonderful about New
I
York.
think that's one of the things, though, that separates you and that gives you that factor. Because what do you think it is that has kept you in this industry
Yeah.
so long? Because as
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
you're absolutely right.
one wrong move
Yeah, yeah.
and you're out of here.
You know, I think that because I am not only a New Yorker, but I'm a princess of light. I'm a very spiritual person, and I'm connected to everyone's energy. So it's not a me thing. So when you say what you just said, has to do with that type of mentality, that if you're coming along thinking that it's you, you know what? There'll be people putting you in the back seat of the bleachers. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
because I keep myself very fresh and open all the time, that it has me kind of manifesting and going into different roller coasters and spots along with everybody else, and still doing it while still looking and feeling very grateful and fresh at the same time.
You know, now I'm a girl of a certain age. I know, you know, we're girls, we're mature women here. But I just, coming up, seeing you, Candace Kane, the stunts y'all just, I love y'all seeing y'all pulling stunts. Who was it for you that came before
before
you
us that
that
were
kind
our
of inspired
right.
you?
You know, we were talking earlier. I say, and I say this to all the kids anytime I do an interview, so it can be a broken record. What?
Yeah.
You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from.
Right,
So
right.
because I was always very thoughtful of the people and my predecessors, my brothers and sisters, of why it is that we're here, you know, from fashion to activate, all of it. I always paid attention. I mean, to my grandmother taking me to Garage and Studio 54, you know, I was going out when I was 11, you know, because back in the day, if you were with the right people, they weren't carding you. New York's a different breed, you know what I mean? So I've seen and I've done things, you know. My grandmother, as most are the matriarch of the family, she's been a part of the S&M contingency of the Gay Pride
Wow.
since the 70s. She also has a female and a male slave, like she's a dominatrix, but she was also a famous opera singer. That's why I grew up across the street from Carnegie Hall. So I come from that. So being around colorful people, it was important for me to know about this. So it wasn't ever thinking to myself, that person's different, that person's special. So I never dissected people. And I say a label is something that I wear, not something that you can acute me to.
Oh, we love that. I think y'all need to let that sit with y'all for a
Let it
moment.
simmer like
Let
some
that
good
simmer.
matzah.
So you as an artist, someone that, you know, really curates the music scene in many of these spaces, how have you seen your art and your creativity and your activism sort of go off the screen, you know, off the record? Like,
Yeah.
into the streets, into community? Because I've seen you, like, you're on boards. Like, what does your activism look like when you step out of the DJ booth?
Well, you know what's funny is that it's just the opposite. My life got me ready for all these things.
Yeah.
To be here as, oh my goodness, I'm actually a part of HMI, which I always thought was amazing. That I was like, oh my God, there's a school for gay, lesbian, and and trans people. I always thought that was amazing. I didn't want to go to it, but I thought it was cool because, I think of how I was raised, and, because my family embraced me, being a biracial child in Manhattan and just coming from what I came from. I was always the most popular person in grade school and junior high school. And I had this way of bringing all the different groups and people together. So I knew I was good. And I also knew that I needed to be visible. I always knew that because of where I came from. I was always around older people and paid attention that when I would go back to school, be like, you talk like a mature person. And because I was always hanging out, like I said, living an alternate life with my grandmother going out, that I had this old school soul within me, but also an appreciation just to listen to everybody's temperature and feel everyone's vibration and know that, what, we can all be on the same page, but people get to a different place at a different time.
They sure do. And so with those people that you said that,
So that, not to cut you off, but that all prepared me for the things that it is that I'm doing was when I was younger is what I meant to say.
No, but I really do think that sometimes we as LGBTQ folks, trans folks specifically, I know I missed out on the things I needed to hear from my mother, from other women,
right,
to prepare me from what I was walking into.
Right.
So I know how important it is to have those people who are mature enough,
right,
who can guide you into those certain spaces. And it's so wonderful to hear that because you can tell that you've had those type of voices, but now it's your turn.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the younger generation that's coming up right now? Whereas, again, things may not have been as, let's say, politically hostile when we were coming up, but it didn't make it any less dangerous. We didn't have words for the things, but we learned to navigate things even though it was treacherous and community was key.
Yes.
But what would your advice be in this current political climate? How do we navigate this time? What can you give as words to the folks coming behind us?
That's such a beautiful lead up, darling. And I, on the contrary, I am a very optimistic person. I am an empath. And like I said, I'm very spiritual. I don't ever believe that there's any mistakes in this gig called life. I believe that we're all supposed to be with what's happening right now. For instance, this situation happening 2 days ago, where we are in our current climate situation. These kids today are so proactive and so on the pulse of what the hell was this bullshit going on beforehand? What is this?
I didn't know a lot about any
what
of
is
this
this
stuff.
all old oligarchy kind of carrying on? They just don't have, and rightfully so. It makes no sense. And the thing is that these dinosaurs are barking the most because they know they're almost extinct.
Yes.
If you look back at the day in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, it looked more like them. The color, Benetton, Skittles, Taste the Rainbow, it's a lot different. And guess what? We actually have more of the power.
We do.
So, one, get your information from the right place, because major media outlets are not going to give it as what you think. It's all controlled.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We have such a beautiful underground railroad, if you will, of wonderful places to get your information from. So therefore, because they know that they're already extinct, they've got to do and say the most. So they're going to come out with the rhetoric. They're going to do all this stuff to scare you. Darling, they're the ones that's scared. We got this. We are this. And we have been here before. And right now, we're supposed to be here right now because there's more of us. Absolutely. And we also have our allies and our people stepping up and being there for us and saying, no, this makes no sense. This is foolishness. We're done with this. So do what you got to do, Orange Cheeto and all the rest of your mascara, and your time is coming up.
Absolutely.
But right now is our time to be together.
Well, and I think that for me has been the point. Because we live in America, America's default has been individualism, capitalism over community.
Right.
And when you're Black, trans, or part of any marginalized community, sometimes there's a little confusion in what participation means and looks like.
Right.
And we know that we want to be able to participate in life, like everyone else has the ability to sports.
That's right.
We want to be able to participate, but we have to be mindful about participating in the narrative that they create about
How
about the
exactly.
how, because they think the how is all individual, when I know the how is community, because it's because of community that this even happened
That's
this weekend.
right. Hello.
Community came together and put this together. BTFA gave us the space to do this.
Got right
Jordan,
there.
like, you know, so I think we allowed the world and things to kind of get our attention at
Yes.
certain, you know, because the what do you call a money that is a currency?
Yes, the currency. Yeah.
The currency right now is attention, and people know that. That's why we need to turn our attention to community.
That's right.
Because that's the currency we
That's
can have.
the money.
Because
that's the real money.
I think now it would change with Pride's mostly booking cis het talent. If we learn to pay attention to the talent within our own community.
Exactly.
How do you see with music? How do you balance lifting up musicians that we all know are iconic, our Madonnas, you know, our Beyoncés, our Doechis, and our Janelle Monáes, with our Vincents and our Alex Newalls and our Angelica Rosses and Mila Jams, and, you know, all the LGBTQ artists? How do you mix it all in and uplift these
I think that
voices?
because we walk and we live that life, you know, from all of the different hats that you and I both wear, to all of these artists that you mentioned, and also the people who make all of the stuff happen behind the scenes, you know, so that's a walk of life.
Yes.
So when we do our art, when we sit right here, we do this, we're representing for everything that we've ever done. Our backbone strong, our tall neck is up to the sky. You know what I mean? So I feel like anytime that I'm curating anything, speaking, acting, DJing, it is my walk through life.
Yes.
You know, and obviously, you know, we have points and things that it is that we want to take going into certain things. So, you know, I know ahead of time, I get something from my team that this is the vibe. Therefore, I'll take that time and I will curate it, especially just for that.
Yes.
And that's with everything that it is that I do in life. From what I'm thinking about wearing, our armor is everything. Hello?
No, every time I see you, you don't play.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. You pull together, and it's always immaculate. Now, with the name of the show being No Opportunity Wasted,
Which I love.
thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Now, explain, you know, it comes from my Buddhist practice to say that, like, when we're talking about time and capacity, this is a concept we talk about a lot in Buddhism, time and capacity. We want to know many times, like, when is the right time to say something?
Yes. Okay.
Now.
Okay, now.
Now is always the right time. The
Yep.
difference is I got to learn to keep checking in with myself and my
Right.
capacity in that moment. Now, what is my capacity?
Right.
And to be able to speak and show up and to take action with respect to my capacity in that moment, and with the respect to the capacity of the people and the environment that I'm in. So the moment's always now, but it's just about learning just what to share. You are about to share a lot of your story as you prepare to write your memoir. You're now looking back in hindsight and realizing no opportunity was wasted. I know it couldn't have been easy to go through the catalog of all those experiences. What did you need to do to prepare yourself for that?
Listen, you know, I am, I'm always thinking of other people. And I finally, 2 years ago, put myself first. And that always felt very selfish to me.
I know.
You know, I think being an only child, it was always about accommodating and making other people happy, you know? And I thought that thinking about myself first was selfish, you know? Obviously, maturity will teach you a lot of things, and patience is one of them. And I was supposed to get that message when I did. So when I started, you know, writing my memoirs 2 years ago, a lot of stuff came up, and I didn't realize how much I had put it away. That's okay.
Because that's what we have to do sometimes to move forward.
Absolutely. Because I realized that
But
if I had dealt
eventually
with it,
gotta- yeah,
I didn't have the tools to deal with it.
at
And
the
I've
time.
always been very conscious and thoughtful about what I am attainable and able to understand and accomplish. Because I'm a perfectionist, but I have wiggle room.
Yes.
I don't make myself crazy. I'm an Aries, you know. I'm easy breezy, but I'm also very structured. But I knew that there were certain things that I didn't have the tools to understand, that I was going to put them behind a few Barbie boxes, and I was going to get to it later. Because if I did, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew that I needed to polish it up, make it look nice, and especially as women of trans experience and color.
Yes.
We have to look better. We have to sound better. We have to dress better. We have to do better. We have to do all of these things because of the expectations put on us.
Absolutely.
Okay? So there's that. So we can't just walk in the room and just show up. No, we got to show out.
Absolutely.
And we've got to be articulate. We've got to be funny. And then also, people don't always really understand. There are sometimes if I've ever experienced any prejudice growing up, it was from my brothers and sisters who were of Black descent.
Yeah.
And that sucks because I'm like, if you look at my family, it is a Benetton ad. It's a tall salad, a mixture of everything. And that's me, but that's also New York. You know, and I never faulted any of them from that, but I do remember, like, you know, a few, situations when I was, going from one school to the next or whatever, and I ended up becoming friends. But 3, Black kids are like, "Oh, you think you're better because you've." Remembered when I had gone to a new school, and there was like 3 or 4 brothers and sisters saying to me, "You think that you're better because you're light skinned and you've got good hair," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" Like, what does that mean? Like, I have cousins that literally have your hair texture and have your skin tone. And because I was always around older people, I knew how to articulate these things. So I remember them being like this, like the way that I handled it. And then.
But you know what? I think that conversation, though, comes from the way that white supremacy works.
Oh, absolutely. Especially back then.
Yeah, but even now, the way that white supremacy works. Okay. So, because with white supremacy, the way that it really slays is that it runs away with the bag while we're fighting each other, when the real person we should be addressing is white supremacy.
Yeah.
So the reality is, what those kids are saying, oh, you think you're better than someone, they're projecting onto
Absolutely.
you the fact that white supremacy works, and they've set a value
That's right.
on you that is more than our dark skin,
Right.
and it's something that you didn't create.
Mhm.
And so we've had to learn to both hold what is our experience, that so many light-skinned folks have experienced this rejection, or you're not Black enough, or what have
Right.
you, due to the real experience of dark-skinned people who, again, when we learn better language and learn things, we need to learn to shift our energy at the right people.
That's right.
And it's not at each other.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean, and of course, they live to see that happening within,
absolutely.
because life was not designed for them.
So was it, I know it wasn't easy to go through all these stories and revisit all the things that you've been through.
Oh, that part about the book part.
Yes.
It was actually, I think that
Really?
because I was conscious about wanting to see a therapist at the same time when I was writing the book, I wanted to make certain that
That's so important.
I was cleansed and clear and right from my blood type.
Can I tell you that when I first had therapy, I got a therapist because I was like, well, that's what I got to do to get these moans. So that's what I'm going to do. And I was dating my ex-fiance at the time. And I just remember thinking that he had all the issues because he was not openly loving me and blah, blah, blah. And then a few appointments in, I realized, oh, okay, girl, I guess I got some things to talk about.
Yeah.
Was therapy always something that you considered, or was this your first time actually accessing therapy?
It's funny. I think that because I had always been the therapist to my friends, and also just how growing up, conversation was always very much there. And, like I said, from my grandmother and my parents and whatnot. So I felt like I had a really good, handle on things. And also I was always that person that people would come to for advice. And I always just had that kind of essence of, being able to be in the middle and give great advice that way.
Well, who heals the healer?
Well, see?
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, I was putting stuff away and I didn't realize it. So I had wanted to, but I knew that I would do it when I was in my grown and sexy.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the book, I was like, this is that moment.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was coming out of an 8-year relationship. I wanted to really get under the hood.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to get any stuff that didn't serve me any longer out and done. And now I'm living my lightest, best version. And that's what you want to be. You just want to live light and lovely.
But you know what? I don't know how you've been doing it, but you always look like you've been living light and lovely.
Well, thank you.
You always have that energy. When are we getting this book?
Oh God. Yesterday? Still tweaking it because again, I am a perfectionist and I still feel like, you know how it is, girl. Same. I feel like, listen, I will want to have her birthed out this year. But again, I've taken my time with
you have your patience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like I said, I've been doing this gig called Life a Minute. There is no rush in this. You know, if I feel like this is the year, then this is the year.
Oh, thank you so much, Lena, for joining me.
Baby girl, you already know.
Now,
this is supposed to happen.
And you know this is just always just another stop on our road because we always, when we see each other, whether it's LA.
It doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing.
Thank you always for your support and shining your light and using your light to bring it to this production. Again, congratulations.
Thank you,
on being the Grand Marshal, because I think now more than ever, we need to continue to center trans people who have been here in this fight and remind people how valuable we are to this movement.
Like, why are we only celebrated, especially, you know, our brothers and sisters who've been doing this for a long time after we're gone?
Yeah.
Like, baby, there's so many beautiful brothers and sisters who are still doing this gig.
Absolutely.
And flourishing. And we do not hear their voices. We still continue to focus and give light to a certain situation.
Well, listen, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity.
Absolutely, sister.
To uplift your voice for those that don't know. Because if you don't know, you've been living under a rock. If you don't know Lena Bradford, thank you so much for joining us now.
You, baby girl.
We will be right back.
There we go. I think I had to turn my voice back on. We are back. I hope you all really enjoyed that. Actually, let me go ahead and put my video back on for the folks on Instagram. Instagram, I'm going to let you get in on the action here. There we go. All right. So, yes, I hope you really enjoyed that conversation with Lena Bradford and I. Like I said, this was really a labor of love with community. And, you know, I have to be really, really honest. This almost didn't happen. You know, it just almost didn't happen. Like I said on social media the other day, like, I don't know if just a lot of people don't know, you know, just because they just, I don't know, don't know. But definitely a lot of people are playing ignorant and stupid with the situation. But I, along with Kaylani and many, many others, have lost so many opportunities from speaking up for Palestine. Obviously, we've seen Mahmoud Khalil be returned back home and be able to see his beautiful child for the first time. We've seen so many people actually start to get released while others are still, their life is still hanging in the balance. I know the makeup artist, I can't remember his name, but the Venezuelan makeup artist, I think his family still doesn't know, you know, where he's at. And it just hasn't looked good. And you know, our media has not been reporting on these issues, haven't been following up. And so, you know, it has been now probably 3 years that I have been removed from Pride. Pride season used to be a time where I could barely breathe because I was just booked and busy all over the place. I was hosting New York City Pride on Hulu for 2 years in a row. And then the third year, you know, is when things started to get a little funny. And it's so funny because even as I watch the replay of this year's New York City Pride, it is very clear why they would not invite me. Child, I would have had to disrupt. That's just what it would have been. I would have. I. It's like Glenda telling Elphaba, "You can stay. You just apologize. You can still be with the wizard. You can still get what you worked and waited for. You could have all you ever wanted." And I'm like, "Girl, I know, but if they invite me, girl, like it's only gonna be but 2.5 seconds before they start running me up out of there." Cause it's gonna be free, free, free Palestine. You know what I'm saying? And they got a new chant too. Death to the IDF. That's what they're chanting. I did not say that, but that's what the people online are chanting. And then not to mention, like, so again, I say all this to say that people know me as a very resilient, very strong, very capable person. I love to say, like Jay-Z would say, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. You know what I mean? And so I've always prided myself on being able to kind of like just keep it going, doing all the things. But these past couple years, I've continuously had to shift and change my situation to, to adjust for the situation. Before okay, y'all want to be like that? Fine. Let me adjust here. Let me adjust there. And then again, okay, well, let me adjust here again. Then let me adjust over there again. And then again and again. And, it's gotten down to a point where, there's a lot more I do want to say and that I will say on the other part of this podcast, which will be now unfiltered. It's just I can't share everything. Number one, advertisers are not going to want to hear my mouth on everything. You know what I'm saying? And I got to try to pay some bills because I have been removed and canceled from everything. Y'all want to talk about cancel culture? You want to talk about cancel culture? Did nobody cancel Dave Chappelle? Last I heard, that mug is still collecting checks and still doing shows. Not to mention, I never opened my mouth about the situation. Like, after a while, I'm like, do you, girl? You doing all that for attention. Ain't nobody even paying attention. The girls are not even giving you attention, and you still trying to go. Dave Chappelle not canceled. Snoop Dogg not canceled. The only people y'all tend to be able to cancel is black women and Palestinian people. Chrisette Michelle, Amanda Seals, me. You know what I mean? And now that we're coming full circle, and now that Joy Reid, it was on the Breakfast Club blatantly calling out Biden, providing cover for Bibi Netanyahu, saying this man can't even travel to multiple countries because he has arrest warrants. Some people are vowing to stand behind those arrest warrants. Some people like, nah, you cool, BB. That was Joe Biden. Okay? Licking ice cream while Netanyahu is bombing hospitals, bombing schools. They telling you Hamas got operations under hospitals. And wouldn't you know it? Every accusation, I'll be damned. Every accusation is a confession. Because Israel got bomb shelters under hospitals and stuff. Israel's military operation is shooting, projectiles from a residential area. It ain't like, in America, how we have bases? We have military bases off somewhere that ain't like really in the residential area. No. Israel's is right at the mall. Like it's like the Mall of America surrounded by the IDF. And if we're not careful, that is exactly what we're going to get here in America. Okay? So I need y'all to start paying attention. Number one, I digress. But the reason why I said all that is to say is that I have been removed from one too many jobs. This last one was the one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back. And I am struggling at this point. And I was booked for World Pride. I was going to be giving a keynote, and I was going to be attending the Trans March. I was giving them two for the price of one. They didn't even, they weren't at my fee, but I always want to do, trans led and community led events. So specifically because this was in partnership with the National Trans Visibility March, I told the folks over there, I was like, yeah, let's just work it out. So for months we had been in talks. They talking to my manager. Then I hop on a what do you call that call? I hop on a prep call, so I know where you got to be, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. So I get on the prep call and, some time passes and I'm like, asking my manager, like, what's going on? I haven't got my travel arrangements yet and blah, blah, blah. And so he taps in and they're all of a sudden saying, we're going in another direction. After all that, and you can't give me no specifics. What you mean? We going in? First, they were confused about the travel arrangements. My manager's like, look, don't be confused. Just book her flight and her hotel. Let us know what it is. Don't pay attention to the writer at all. Just get the travel arrangements and we good. We totally good. They were like, oh, no, we just decided to go into another direction. So the money I was counting on, the job I was counting on, that would help me because I am still, I'm probably going to have to sue my former speaking agent for $40,000+. So I'm still missing out on $40,000. I have been losing out on job after job after job. And now it's gotten to a place where I can actually feel it. So share, like, and subscribe. Join the YouTube channel, just starting at $4.99. You can even join and be, if you really got it like that, go ahead and go that $9.99. You can get episodes ahead of time. You'll get to see some of these episodes before they drop. You will get access to my masterclass, Like a Butterfly masterclass. And let me talk to you about this masterclass. Because you're like, well, damn, girl, you struggling. What kind of masterclass is you giving? But it's not like that. This masterclass is all about, and plus, oh my goodness, I could sit here and give you a whole spiritual lesson on what's happening with me right now. So as challenging as things are right now, I know that I am being spiritually fortified. So I am counting it all joy. I'm counting it all joy. But I went on this tangent and I've lost my train of thought. Oh yes. Yes. So, look, the master class is all about, it's called Like a Butterfly because it really is about how to transition in an environment that is so, just there's so much resistance to your growth. There's so much resistance to your existence. You got to worry about as a butterfly, as a caterpillar. You got to worry about some damn kid with a magnifying glass in the summer that's looking to just burn you up with the visibility. Just burn you up. You understand what I'm saying? But listen, as challenging as my life has been, I have had the most beautiful and profound for myself, as if I can say so myself, transition. Some people say that I'm beautiful, but I would say that's just an outward manifestation of my inward beauty, And I think that it is a spiritual process especially for trans people, to show the world who we are from the inside out, to get them to go beyond what they just see, and get them to go into the experience of trans people and the experience, of other people. And so, Like a Butterfly is a mix of my Buddhist teachings. It's a mix of my hard knocks street lessons. And it's something that has given me not only an unshakable happiness. And what I mean by unshakable happiness Okay. I am, I need my money. I'm like TT. I need that money. I need that money. I need that money. I need that money. I need it. I'm like TT. I need my money. Okay. And things could be a whole heck of a lot better right now, right? But I am happy. You couldn't buy me the kind of joy that I feel. It's it's the kind of joy that passeth all understanding. You know? It's we call it absolute happiness because it's not relative to my bank account balance, my credit score, if I'm in a relationship, the weather, how many followers I have, all this kind of stuff. And so, it doesn't mean that life is perfect. It doesn't mean that every day is going to be sunshine. It just means that I'm going to be all right. And I'm going to be all right. At the end of the day, I'm going to be all right. So I'm asking for your support. There's links all over the place where you can support the stream through PayPal, becoming a member. There's so many ways to support. I need your support, and I would appreciate your support. And I will see you all tomorrow night as we come back. And now since I have a lot of interviews, we're gonna do one a week. We're gonna do one Pride celebration a week because Pride is never ending. From this moment on, Pride is forever. To the end of this year, we celebrating Pride every week. That's how we doing it around here. Speaking of round here, I know y'all done heard the song that's been playing in all my promotions. That's one of my latest songs that I've released called Lift You by Jay Gordon, featuring yours truly, Angelica Ross, and also DJ Yoder, who is producing. We recorded this song right here in my studio here in Atlanta. Probably over 2 days we recorded that song. I love this song. It's one of my favorite songs. Around here, we don't ever dim our lights. We turn it up and make it shine brighter. Okay? Don't cower down. Don't let fear and anxiety make you immobile. You know what I mean? Like to make you not take action. There's a lesson I always lean to, and that's time and capacity. When I always want to think about what can I do? When should I do something? Answers always now. No opportunity wasted. The only difference is your capacity and the capacity of the situation and the environment you're dealing with. Be easy on yourself. You don't have to conquer everything all at once. Just take a step. Just take an action right now. No opportunity wasted. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Nam yo holding yo nam yo nam yo nam yo holding yo nam yo nam yo holding yo nam yo nam yo holding yo nam yo